If getting an Ivy League degree is your goal, this video is perfect for you. We are officially kickstarting the Fall 2025 video series, and in this particular video, I'm going to show you as a high school student or a gap year student what exactly you need to do to make sure that you have an absolute standout application for the Fall 2025 intake. First off, I want to provide some clarification about the two different types of intakes that are present in US colleges. We have the fall intake and the spring intake. For the fall intake, this is the most popular one. Almost every single college in the US has a fall intake, which means that you will begin your classes in the fall or August, in other words. Now, the advantages of the fall intake are because every college offers this, the chances to get a scholarship in the fall intake are especially high, and almost every single college will offer a scholarship in the fall intake. Second, because this is a popular intake, going through the visa process if you are an international student is also going to be slightly easier. Coming to the spring intake, not a lot of colleges offer this, especially the top colleges, Ivy Leagues. There is no spring intake for Ivy League universities, which means that you have less options to choose from, less scholarships, and you may be put under the microscope and face some issues when it comes to obtaining your student visa as an international student. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to focus on the fall intake. Now let's talk about the rough timeline. The biggest mistake I see students make, especially when it comes to US college admissions, is they don't apply on time. The one big thing that I would like to scream in every video is that whenever you want to study in the US, you have to start applying 1 year before. The entire application process takes 1 whole year. It is a lengthy process, which means that let's say you are just now entering class 12, you will apply right now this August if you want admission next August, so 1 entire year. For the fall 2025 intake, applications will open this August, and most of the applications will close in December or January. Now, of course, I'm not going to go specifically into details about when each university has the deadline because that can be slightly different, but having a ballpark of December to January is a good idea. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. If you are applying just as you're entering class 12, how do you submit your final 12th grade reports or your board exam results? Now, when you're applying to US colleges, you do not need your final year exam marks to apply. They consider two alternative documents instead. One is a mid-year report and the second is a predicted mark sheet for class 12 students. As a class 12 student, you are in the clear to apply. The second thing, let's assume you are a gap year student who's applying. In that case, you can obviously submit your final class 12 marks. To keep your reality and sanity, it's good to have a very thought out college list that has dream universities, within reach colleges, and safety colleges. So to build your college list, you're going to follow a 3-prong approach. The first prong is identifying what major you actually want to study and understanding what your priorities are. For example, location, scholarship, prestige of a college. The second prong is shortlisting universities and researching which are the best universities that actually offer what you want with the priorities that you want. And what I mean by this is, for example, let's say someone wants to do computer science. UCLA might be a super good fit for them if their only priority is prestige and career prospects and opportunities, considering that UCLA is in the Bay Area and they offer no scholarships at all. On the other hand, let's say that another student's priorities are getting a good engineering degree, but maintaining a balance between affordability and, expenses as well. Maybe UT Austin or UT Dallas might be a good idea because they offer good engineering programs and have a very affordable and a lower cost of living. The last and third prong is, based on the research that you've done, you would then prepare a list of 10 to 20 universities and divide them into dream colleges, within reach colleges, and safety universities. Typically, I do not recommend students apply to anywhere more than 20 to 25 universities because remember, for each one of these universities, you will also have to write different essays, and it can get really draining and stressful very quickly. Now let's talk about the documents that you'll be required to submit when you're actually filling out your college applications. The first thing is you'll be using a platform called Common App, which is one website that allows you to add up to 20 colleges and just apply to them all together without having to submit and fill out personal information again and again. It makes your life easier. Now, the essays can be divided into two parts. Your personal essay, which is going to be your long essay. It's a 650-word essay about a personal story in your life. It's nothing related to academics. And this is the common essay that goes with every application. So you write it once, and every college that you submit to, the same essay is kind of like sent to them. The next set of essays are supplemental essays. These are college-specific essays that are much shorter in length. So I've seen these be like 150 to 300 words depending on which college is asking, and different colleges have different questions. Like some colleges may say, explain your favorite extracurricular activities. Other may ask you to write about what you did last summer, or just a random question on a particular topic. But the important thing to note here is each one of your supplemental essays need to be different for each college. If you end up just writing one essay and copy pasting for each university by just changing the name, it's very easy for that college to find out that you are recycling the essays, and it doesn't look good for you as a student. And for those of you that think that using AI and ChatGPT to write your essays is a cool and smart thing to do, teachers are getting smart. College admission officers are way smarter than you. They have plagiarism checkers and AI detecting tools in their system already. So what I've seen is applications and essays that are using AI-based technology kind of automatically get rejected, and college officers don't even read those essays. So stay away from all of that to potentially, land in trouble. The last thing on the required document list are letters of recommendation. Now, typically, you can expect colleges to ask anywhere between 1 to 2 letters of recommendation, and it's a good idea to get one maybe from like an English teacher or a science or math teacher that, maintains a good amount of variety. Because these letters of recommendation need to be sent to the colleges, remember, applications open in August. It's probably like a good time to ask sometime around then, so teachers have enough time to kind of think about what they're going to write. With this, we move on to the optional documents. Now, the number one thing on the optional documents are activities. I know that many students get excited with this, but remember, activities, the entire section is optional. So you have the option of adding up to 10 activities and up to 5 honors. It's probably a good idea to fill up all of these spaces, but try not to over-exaggerate. Like, we don't want redundancy, like 10 different activities where you founded a club or were the CEO of a club. Mix it around, have some places where you're learning, contributing to the society, having a good impact in your community, and make sure you're portraying yourself as a student, not just as someone who knows it all. The next section is going to be tests. Now, within the tests, we tackled SAT tests, which are optional but good to have. Similarly, you have AP exams. Now, if you are really looking to stand out, writing AP exams is the right way to do it. Showing academic excellence really goes a long way, and you can just write AP exams, get a good score, and it has a really, really good impact on college admission officers. There are 38 different AP exams to choose from, and if you're seriously thinking about getting admitted into a top university, you need to aim at writing anywhere between 10 to 20, even more if that's possible. Next, coming to the deadlines, there are 4 types of deadlines that we're going to talk about. There is an early decision deadline, early action, regular decision, and rolling. I'm going to tackle early decision and early action together. These deadlines typically fall somewhere between end of October and beginning to mid of November, and there are some specific rules associated with them. For early decision, you're allowed to apply to one college only, and if that college accepts you, you have to say yes to them. This is kind of like a legally binding offer, and it's understood. So you typically cannot reject their offer if they accept you. So it's a good idea to maybe have like a dream university as your early decision option. It's not necessary that you have to apply for early decision, but it is an option for those of you that are interested. Typically, the early decision and early action acceptance rates tend to be slightly higher because less number of students are actually prepared by then. When it comes to early action, you can apply to as many universities as you want. The only advantage here is because the deadline is earlier, you're competing against fewer students, and you have a better chance of actually getting in. The acceptance rates are slightly higher. Coming to the regular decisions, these deadlines usually are mid to end of December or even January sometimes, and this is the deadline that almost every single student will be applying to. You cannot miss this deadline. If you do, there's just no chance for you to apply for that admission cycle again. Lastly, rolling deadlines. Rolling deadlines are typically associated with lower tier or mid-tier colleges. These are colleges that just don't have a deadline, or they'll have a deadline of like May, June, or July. For example, there are some colleges that have a July 2025 deadline for the fall 2025 intake. So just for like top tier colleges, imagine that the deadlines will typically be regular decision and no rolling deadlines. But moving on, let's talk about everyone's favorite, scholarships and financial aid. Now, typically there are two types. There are scholarships, which are typically merit-based. You don't have to fill any separate applications. If you're a good student, basically you have a good academic score, or you're good at some sort of activity like sport or cultural, the college will give you a merit-based scholarship, and this is usually mentioned in the offer letter directly. On the other hand, we have need-based. Now, need-based is not dependent on the student, a little bit, but more dependent on your parents. How much money do they earn? What is the size of your household? How many siblings do you have? What are their expenses like? How much property do they own? All of that is considered, and then a need-based financial aid, as it says, is given. This is not automatic. You have to fill out the CSS profile, and yes, the CSS profiles also have deadlines. They're separate to college applications. You need to look for the deadlines and make sure that for each college you fill out the CSS before their deadlines and apply for them. Now, a big thing to remember is if you ask, this is optional, right? But if you ask for need-based financial aid, there is a chance that you may be waitlisted or rejected because you're asking for aid. So colleges consider the fact that, hey, this student is asking for aid. They cannot afford the entire tuition fee, so maybe we don't give them the offer letter at all. So be very careful and deciding, like talk to your parents and then decide which colleges you should ask for aid and whether you should be asking for aid for all of the colleges. It should be a family decision, not just yours, right? All right, so that kind of sums up everything you need to do. But the big question is, when should you actually start preparing each thing? So this is a rough timeline that I've made, and this is, again, my personal opinion. But this is how I feel you should manage your time if you are applying for the fall 2025 intake. Anywhere between now until the end of June is when you should prepare your college list. We know that the personal essay, the common essay, which is 650 words, is something that you'll have to write for every single university, just one essay that goes in everywhere. You can get started on this essay this summer because you already know what the topics are. These topics do not change. So think about what story you're going to write and start writing the drafts of this. By August, your personal essay should be ready to go. The next thing are supplemental essays. Now, obviously, supplemental essays are associated with colleges, but roughly you can aim to finish this by September. September is a good time to finish all of your supplemental essays. SAT and TOEFL. Complete taking the TOEFL this summer. If you haven't already, you can plan to take the SAT on August 24th or a second attempt on October 5th. Now, both of these dates that I'm kind of emphasizing on is assuming that you are applying for the early action deadline. Now, of course, if you're applying to regular decision, you still have a few more months of buffer time. But I always feel like applying early action benefits students because you have a slightly larger chance of getting accepted if you are prepared early on. Now, lastly, LORs and other school documents, you need to get them by September. That is a good time frame to have to collect all of the school-related documents that you will need. Finally, in October is when you review your entire application. Usually, I've seen that students kind of find places where unexpected things came up. They didn't see that they had to write a particular essay, forgot about a requirement, and it's very stressful, especially when you're trying to manage like 20 different college applications and their requirements. So October is the time to start reviewing everything you've done. Now, all of this, even though I gave you guys the right timelines, there's just so much that goes into college applications and it can get really overwhelming, especially for you. even the teachers, because they also have to fill out portals and letters and write a lot of essays. So the Ivy League 101 course is the perfect fit for that. The course itself has like a step-by-step walkthrough of how you need to fill out the Common App portal. For you as a student, it has a step-by-step walkthrough of how teachers fill out their counselor portals. Plus, it has a walkthrough of what you need to do when you're filling out the CSS profile, which is the need-based scholarship application that has to go separately with your college applications if you intend on applying for financial aid. So all of this is in one single course to make your life a little bit easier, and it's divided into specific modules. There are templates, Excel spreadsheets, so that you have everything organized, and instead of just figuring out when and how to do something, you're actually spending quality time in doing the actual things like writing your essays, making sure your activities are on point and everything. The Ivy League 101 course is going to open up very soon for the fall 2025 intake, and I'm going to leave a link in the description below to sign up for the waitlist. So definitely sign up to be notified as soon as that goes live so you can enroll and get that course for yourself. Alright guys, so for all of you that are watching till this very end point of the video, which is I'm pretty sure just like 5 or 10 people at this point, what do you guys do to de-stress just in general? I used to play video games, but recently I got the Quest 3, so I've been doing a lot of like VR gaming. I play like tennis in that, and that's pretty fun. It hurts my eyes a little bit, but anyway, that's what I personally like to do. What do you guys do? Leave that in the comment below. Like the video, it really helps me stay motivated to create more content like this, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.